Hello there, everyone out there in Twitch TV land. Sorry about the slight delay. We had some technical difficulties. Ryan could not hear me through his headset, so I'm using a different headset today because we don't have enough time to figure out what is wrong with that other headset. So when one thing goes wrong, rather than fixing it, let's just move on to a brand new one. We'll throw the old one away. Something like that. Yeah. No, I'm gonna fix that later.
There's a giant stack of headsets over in the corner.
Exactly. They're literally, that is a box of Astro headsets right there.
I was joking.
I'm just saying, yeah, that literally is a box of Astro headsets. We brought those to PAX because we had the you were at PAX, right? Didn't you go to PAX?
Yep.
Yeah. So you knew about the whole setup there and all the Astros, all the alien
really
wares.
Yep.
I'm very sad I couldn't go, but hopefully next time we go to a show, which I think is like the next PAX, whichever is
PAX
like
East.
March or April, I think. Hopefully I get to go to that. Fingers crossed. But we will see. The blue light is not on. It is on. Oh my God! Did Justin turn that on? I think he did. Justin is always on top of his game. He sits right there, and then as soon as the stream goes live, he rolls on over, gives me that blue button push. So thank you very much, Justin. I appreciate that.
It's pro.
Whew. All right, so community catch-up. Usually, this is too early for me, but usually I'm in the background silently giving away keys in chat, wondering like why 11 a.m. and any time before then has to exist in the world. But Andy's got a full day of meetings and some and awesome stuff that's all for you guys pretty much in the future about what's going on in the Dawn Gate. So here I am taking over for the community catch-up this afternoon or this morning or this brunch time, whatever really 11 a.m. is.
It's a terrible time, apparently.
It is the worst. I haven't even got my coffee yet. You've got your nice, like...
It's so good.
It's like
it's delicious.
Pixelated Starbucks
Yeah,
mug?
it's like almost a Starbucks ad.
But it's like blurred out. It's like when someone's face is blurred out on cops, you know?
Yeah, in the stream,
like
though,
that.
from this far away, it kind of looks like the Starbucks logo.
It does.
You can't tell.
It's like pixelated and weird. I like it. The light is on Muzzy, so that's just for you. So as you can see, I've got Ryan Seiff joining me. I think this is like the second week in a row. Were you here last week?
I'm just going to come in every week from now on forever.
You're the new Gasty.
No.
No, you don't want to be the new Gasty? Gasty is, the perfect thing about Gasty is when he comes on the community catch-up, I can just be like, go. Like unleash the Gasty, and he'll just be like, beep, boop, and he'll do robot talk for
he
an
has
entire hour.
so much stuff going on all the time.
He does.
He could
It's
just
true.
talk to you forever.
And that's part of his charm. We love Gasty. He's lead system designer. He is practically a robot, and he just does so much stuff that he's got Item Palooza. He's got the map stuff. He's got new shapers coming. He just put a new shaper in the game like a week or so ago as a box man.
Yep, which is
pretty
causing all sorts of problems for Michaela because almost every time...
Michaela the engineer.
Michaela the engineer, yes. Almost every time that Gasty puts in a shaper, he tries to come up with something wonky on the tech side. And he's like, so Lauren. And she goes, what?
What do you want this time? He's like, how about Meepo? No, we haven't gotten there yet, but Gasty does want a Meepo character eventually. And just to give you guys the rundown of Gasty's MO for creating shapers or champions. He did work at Riot for a little while, and his big contributions to the game were Urgot and Swain.
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday. His
break
beautiful
the
contributions.
Game. It's fantastic. Whenever I get Urgot or Swain in an ARAM, I'm like, damn you, Gasty, for putting these. Oh, you like mages? Here's a crazy sustain damage mage that also heals himself. Oh, you like AD carries? Here's bonkers, batshit crazy Urgot.
You might have just destroyed all of Gasty's credibility for being
people
our
are
lead
like,
systems engineer.
Whenever we tease a Gasty shaper coming, people are gonna be like, oh god, I wonder what it is. And he has done the same thing. He has put in a boxman into the game for like I don't remember how long it stayed in, for like a week or two, and then they were like, we don't have the tech for this. This is crazy. This is bonkers. So it was then quickly removed from the game. So waiting for a later date. But Gasty loves just doing these paradigm shifts, just like, oh, this is traditional, AD or AP mechanics or mage mechanics. Let's flip it on its head and try something brand new. So.
And what I like about that is he just doesn't really care what our tech does. He just wants to do the cool thing that's in his mind that he thinks would be fun to play.
Exactly. They're like, we just literally cannot make this Gasty. He's like, Lauren,
too bad.
Go for it.
Make it anyways.
But it's absolutely fantastic. Did the stream what happened? It'll come back up? Did something happen? Oh, bring back the crazy boxman stuff. The stream didn't go down, did it? You guys can still see us, right? Why you guys haven't seen the boxman yet? You'll see it eventually. I'm sure we will try to show you guys a boxman. It's really funny. The best thing about boxman to me is when you have so many when you have so many boxmen in one playtest or something,
Get
you're
the
like,
blue boxman,
what does the blue
boxman.
boxman do? What does the green boxman do? And then you just have boxman wars. And like, the thing that you guys might not understand about boxman is like, it is, they have no effects. Their body is just humanoid, one color. So you just see like little particles flying at each other, but those particles may do like drastically different things. Like this one may be a root, this one may be a nuke, this one may be, you know, something crazy.
That blue particle. You gotta dodge the blue particle.
Watch out for the blue particle. But yeah, it's really, really cool. And I know we're pretty much being huge teases right now, just talking about new shapers and boxmen and stuff like that.
Well, the thing I've learned about the boxmen is apparently my brain completely relies on the fact that our artists make our shapers look like the archetype that they are. So our tanks are like beefy big dudes, and our, you know, ranged carries are kind of like lithe and quick looking. When they're boxmen and you have some big tank that says like pew pew boxman, shooting out blue particles, it's so hard to read.
Yeah, it's underwhelming. Yeah, you're like, oh, it's just a tiny, because boxman is literally just like, I can't. I wish we could pull up a picture somehow, but it's just a humanoid skinny guy. That's it. You know, it could mean a gigantic tank, like a Kel on a boxman, you know, you wouldn't tell it was Kel. It was just like, it's just a boxman, you know, that's it. But yeah, it's pretty cool. They're not very pretty. That's true. They are a little bit ugly. Lauren at least giving Gassy some credit, saying he's actually pretty good at making boxman effects now. I will give him that. I know the most recent boxman shaper that he put in, he made like all the effects from the ground up, and they all look really, really cool. I can't say the theme of it or anything.
He may retire from being a designer and just move into effects art. It might happen.
I feel like he would be too lost without his systems, and he'd be like, what am I designing now? What's happening?
He'd come up with crazy effects tech all the time.
That's true. We love Gasty here at Waystone. We love, you know, of course, everyone here, but Gasty just brings that special little bit of charm. So we've been talking for a little bit now. This is a community catch up. We've just been shooting the shit, no big deal, chewing the fat. So what we're gonna talk about today is the format is usually talk about the community itself. We're going to browse Reddit together. Pretty much you're going to be with us to browse Reddit. We're going to talk about some threads that we've liked over the past week. We're going to talk about some topics that we have enjoyed seeing the community discuss, all that kind of stuff. And then we will transition into kind of a, as you like to put it, that I'm not sure if it's the most like outward facing word or concept or phrase that you guys may know, but it's the post-mortem. It's the post-mortem on Matchmaking 2.0. Which
implies that it's dead, which is really not appropriate at all.
That's true. Matchmaking is not dead. It is still very much alive. But pretty much, you know, you were on last week to talk about the changes that we were implementing to matchmaking, like what Matchmaking 2.0 was, what improved matchmaking was. And then now we're a week out. You know, we have had a weekend of matchmaking, of the new matchmaking. So we're going to talk about, has it worked? Is it a disaster? You know, talk about our experiences with it. My experience has, you know, been good so far, but that's spoilers for later in the show. So let's go ahead and jump into the community side of things. Let's jump into the community pool. Make sure this scene is correct. Boom. Okay. So we have our subreddit right here, which if you don't know, already know, it is a fantastic place with about 4,065 subscribers. So thank you to all of you guys who have subscribed to the subreddit so far. You've got 13 people browsing it right now, including me. So hello, other 12 people out there. If you have not visited, if you have not subscribed, please do so right now. Just go here, hit the subscription button. Boom. Now we should have 4,066 because apparently I wasn't subscribed to our own Reddit, but
you'd think you'd be good at your job.
I have a bookmark up here, no big deal. But yes, it is just a source of constant feedback, source of that we had a really nice montage video by Fat Sea Turtle the other day. I don't know if you're able to see that.
I did watch that. That was pretty great.
It was a great video. It had some really some super catchy music. That music stayed with me for a little while. I feel like I'm passing it up. It was somewhere around here. But yeah.
There was also a video of a Moya escape fail. Did you see that one?
I did not.
Oh, it was great. It was this fight, and Moya got super low, and she just like barely escaped with her life.
Get away, Moya.
And then dashed over a wall right into the creep camp, and the creeps one-shotted him.
Let's watch it. Let's watch this together. Here we go.
I just spoiled it now, though. Ignore everything I said.
All right, let's see. Let's see what this fellow, this Dr. Sunshine 08. So underneath the turret, getting that Petrus. He'll probably, hopefully kill the Petrus.
Really wants the Petrus here.
Oh, he attacked the binding right there, actually. That was a misclick.
And the last binding shot comes in. What's he at? 34 health now.
Oh my god! And the creeps are here to tank this biting. The Vex E comes out.
He's now at 19 health.
Oh my god!
So low. Great escape. So,
he's regenerating a little bit.
Well done.
Oh no! Oh god! I just feel bad.
He's like, hey, creeps.
Wow. Dead. Wait. So what? Did his?
He just aggroed the creeps by dashing into him.
Oh my god! I guess he thought he was gonna try to take it. I don't know. That's really funny though.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
Classic Moya. That's just what happens. Pluto, check email. Actually, it looks like Rags may have. Let me see this. Oh, he has a picture of Boxman.
It's pretty good.
Are we gonna show this? Okay, so this guy's because Rags, who was on the dev playtest yesterday. Is so kind. He has sent us a picture of the Boxman. So let me actually save this picture. Hold on, I'll go to the big camera real quick. You guys can see the infamous Boxman in his natural habitat. Boxman. It's in my pictures. All right, you guys ready? Are you guys excited for Boxman? Because we're about to show it. Media file. Pictures. Boxman. Here we go. Boom. This is Boxman right here.
I would like to point out how good the lighting is on Boxman.
It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. This is Boxman. For all you guys that don't know, this is pretty much what our playtest, like when we're not on stream, is filled with. It's just filled with Boxman, and the colors, like the colors represent what shaper it is, or what like kit is on it, you know. So this green Boxman is one shaper, blue Boxman completely different shaper, red Boxman completely different shaper, yellow Boxman completely different shaper. So you have to you always have to be aware of like, I'm laning against a blue and yellow Boxman. Which ones are these? Are these this shaper? Are these this shaper? What is happening? It's really, really funny. But they come in all different colors. They don't come in different sizes. But thank you so much, Rags, for sending this over. This is Boxman. This is our green Boxman, which
he doesn't have wrists, does he? His hands just kind of float.
Yeah, they just exist.
His arms there.
They do. That is Box. It is 3D. Yes, he does move in 3D.
He walks like this.
Yeah, he walks very like rigidly. It's pretty much incredible. But this is our green Boxman, which I know what shaper this is. Do you know what shaper green Boxman?
That's the one that Dave likes to play, right? I don't want to.
I don't know okay. B game stuff.
B game.
It's the one that Trevor O'Neill likes to play. I know that much. So yeah, there's Boxman. Just more teases for you. So let's get back to this thing. Okay, so back to the Reddit. Thank you so much, Rags, for sending over Boxman. Let's see. So some topics that we enjoyed from the past week have been. There's the new map status update. So as some of you may know, Blue Muzzy in specific, the new map, or map V2, or whatever you want to call it, has been removed from the custom game lobby. You can no longer choose it. We apologize specifically to Blue Muzzy because...
Does that mean you're not apologizing to everyone else?
Not everyone else, no.
Okay.
But Blue Muzzy, I know, was a big proponent for the new map. He was, every time he streamed, he would play on the new map, play custom games, fan games, stuff like that. So it was really, really awesome. But it was removed. And the reasons it was removed was why it was pretty much what Gasty listed here. I gave kind of the TLDR post of it. Gasty pretty much said that the map we have now internally has undergone so many changes and iterations that what was live on prod on the live beta server was so different that feedback on it was no longer applicable.
Right.
Pretty much. That's the TLDR. Yep. And Gassy did come in and say a little bit more about it, like why did remove the new map from custom games. That's pretty much what I just said, the TLDR. And then a lot of people are asking, when will we see the new map? When will we see map V4 or whatever iteration we are on right now? And he said we'll likely do a stream when we talk about our updated goals and progress of the new map, either a community catch-up or a regular playtest, but it'll probably be after the holiday break, before we even show it.
Yep.
Next week, I'm still flabbergasted by this, but a week from today is Christmas, and I'm like,
what?
I can't believe a week from today is Christmas.
Oh, that's
it is December 18th, and next Wednesday is Christmas. I told Gassy that the other day, and he was like, I have some shopping to do. And I was like, wow, good luck with that.
Amazon.com.
Exactly.
Here we go. One-day shipping.
So, yeah. It won't be till after the holidays, which we are on break pretty much, starting next Tuesday to like the following Thursday. I think it's kind of a peculiar break schedule.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll be off. I will be streaming probably a little bit. I will be tweeting and Facebooking and doing as much work as possible because I'm actually not going anywhere. I'm not going home. I'm just gonna chill at my apartment and do nothing pretty much, which is almost the saddest thing, but I'll be okay. Don't worry. So that is why you don't see the custom map in the beta map in the custom settings anymore, but it could make a reappearance in the future. I will say, as I've said a few times, the new map, like version 4 or 5 or whatever we're calling it now, is gorgeous. It's looking so good. Shout out to Brian Vanderhulst, Sutrebla. It is awesome. When I loaded into it the other day for the first time, I was like, look at this grass.
I believe all the purple ground texture is gone.
Yeah, it is. It is not. I wouldn't say. I don't know progression, but it is starting to look almost final by my standards. Like, I know whenever we used to play the custom or the beta map on stream, people would be like, "What is this? It's brown and it's gross," and we're just like, "It's not arted." You know. Now I can see it getting arted, and it is looking absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, that's. I think personally, I liked the beta map being available in custom games without art because I think it gives a really, really cool window into game development as a whole. Like a lot of times, like I worked QA, you know, back at the NATC, the EA NATC, like 4 years ago, and like for years or months, however long it takes for a game to, you know, be finished, developers and testers are playing unarted, graphically, you know, hitching, terrible, usually crappy games. Like that's just how it is.
And they generally don't work also.
I 100% agree with that statement. I remember the last project I worked on in NATC was the Nerf In-Strike Elite 2, which is like a light gun rail Nerf game for the Wii. And you know, light gun is like House of the Dead or Time Crisis. You approach a stage, you kill all the enemies on the screen, and then you advance to another kind of camera or whatever, and then when you got to the first thing, enemies would not be hit by bullets. So testing for a week was like getting to that first stage and bugging like, we cannot progress in this video game. Like,
it's hard to win a light gun game when you can't shoot the
exactly.
guys.
So seeing it progressively, like all of a sudden you go from being able to kill these enemies to like, you know, the next stage, and then there's a big bug in that stage, and like game development is a tedious, you know, mind-numbing, sometimes hair-pulling like process.
So you were at NATC for the Nerf game?
Yeah.
Okay, so here, though, for the Nerf game release, they brought out this giant Nerf gun that was probably like 6 feet long.
Oh my
it's like
God.
this mounted on a tripod monstrosity.
That's amazing.
And they put it out front in the same spot where, you know, when they have the Battlefield launch, they put like a jet fighter.
Yeah.
So they have this giant, like, Gatling gun Nerf thing that was
incredible.
like electrically powered. I really want that gun.
That is incredible. But, you know, like I said, I think it's just a cool little insight. Like, we don't get to play, for the most part, on beautiful arted up maps with beautiful arted up shapers. Like the end goal or the end product that you guys see with, you know, the beautiful Viana effects and her blood animations and stuff. We played her 90% of the time as a boxman, where she had nothing. You know, so it's like I think it was a really cool insight into, you know, what game developers see and play on and stuff like that. But, you know, a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's ugly, it's gross, get out of here." You know, it's like that's what we see more often than not. So that's about the map. Another thread that I liked was what names do you recognize mostly when you first get into games? So this has been interesting. It's just been people kind of mentioning the names they see over and over, because sometimes you get into that chain where like you and 4 friends are constantly queuing up, and there's another group of 4 friends that are constantly queuing up, and you guys just keep kind of butting heads and seeing each other, which, you know, also speaks to kind of the matchmaking that we'll talk about. But, you know, people are recognizing people, and I think that's really cool because people are starting to learn about each other, become friends, maybe become mortal enemies. Maybe it's like, I hate Myanhe, he's the worst, you know, or like, you know, Ice Strip is my mortal enemy, I will always defeat him, you know. Or just being friends. So it's good to see the community is recognizing each other. They're recognizing each other's skills, talents. Like when I go in and I see Eraz Conmango on Moya as a jungler, I'm like, this game's going to be tough. This is not going to be an easy game, and it makes me super, super sad. It's got a little bit of a popularity contest, but It's super fun to see. You got people like Organic, Mars Catarix, who is on the Dibs Dreamcast a lot of times, and great theory crafter, great guy. And then you have people like Thor from GLG, the Good Looking Gamers, who's a splendid fellow as well. You got people like Sheebs, great streamers, great people all around. So I've been enjoying our community for the most part. So thank you for making it easy for me to manage, which is
Blue
part of
Muzzy
my
is
job.
quoting you here.
I hate Miane. He's the worst.
Now it actually is a
It
quote.
it was facetious, and it was not true. I like Miane. I like everyone in our community. So thank you guys for being dope. The other thing that we wanted to particularly address this week was the exploit, like the big gigantic
exploit.
Everyone knows what I'm talking about when I say the exploit. I feel like at this point we can talk about it a little bit more in depth because it will be fixed this weekend, 100%. I believe the fix is already in.
For us. So.
The fix is already in internally. So this guy was under the impression, Disco Night Fever, that it was just a Vex thing, but it turns out it is with every shaper. So what was happening was you could blink onto the Guardian, like into his pool, into his little kiddie pool.
His little home.
His little home, his toilet. You could blink onto the toilet, and you would be granted global range on all of your abilities, all of your auto attacks.
It's a really OP toilet.
It was the most OP toilet. You could be Cerulean and level your E and flip someone from your Guardian all the way across the map back into your Guardian pool, and they would just explode.
Yep. Although while they're exploding, they get infinite range too. So
that's true. That's true. But yeah, it was a big one. It wasn't very fun at all. But it will be fixed this weekend. We can assure you that much. So, any other topics on the Reddit that you?
I do want to say thank you to the players that played and knew about it and didn't exploit it. It was not fun to play against players that were taking advantage. So, all you guys that knew about it and restrained yourself, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Yes, we appreciate it very much. I had some people do it to me. I had one group do it to me, and I got very sad. But then I never saw it again, which made me super happy. Actually, I did see it again. One guy did it. I was playing Kendra, and he was playing Vex, and he was losing. We were winning pretty handily, and he blinked into the Guardian, and I ran up and ultied him and murdered him. I was like, "That's what you get. Don't do that. Don't do that." And then as soon as my resets came back up, I E'd out to a creep. So I just went in there to murder him, and then I left. So
that's great.
I was like, "Don't do that." But yeah, was there any other particular Reddit threads that we enjoyed? Analyzing Burst Mages was a pretty interesting read over at Dawn Source. With the release of King of Masks, who was touted as a control mage, he was adding a little bit too much burst, I would say, to the game.
To be fair, though, there was a bug that was causing AoE damage to stack onto a single target, so that caused it to be burstier than it was supposed to be, and that was fixed the next beta.
Yeah.
And so I think that the numbers they're using here are more accurate, and the end result was that King of Masks is not, is probably the weakest of the burst mages, so is probably falling nicely into that control mage, although what is that line between burst mage and control mage?
Exactly. Yeah,
it's a question for Dibs.
It's a thin one, and from the nerfs, or it wasn't really nerfs. I would say it was more of just a shift in the numbers from his base damage in his power ratios a little bit down, scaled backwards a little bit, but his CC actually got scaled up. He had longer root times for his flourish Q, longer fear times for his flourished E. So he's in a better spot, I would say.
Yep, I think it gave a little more choice to, do I use my Flourish Q, my Flourish E, with the extended route for that Q. Yeah. It's a little more useful just to lock someone down.
It is, and it feels good, too. It feels so good. You're like, you are locked down. I love the Flourished E, personally, because it's like, the eggs kind of unfold so quickly. It's like it's like an instant fear, like you're guaranteed to do it. And if you land it perfectly and they like get feared in like all the eggs,
other eggs,
yeah, you're like, yes, I did it. Interestingly enough, whenever Gasty was reworking kind of fear, like I remember there was a point in time where he was like, I want to change the fear mechanic and make it more consistent, because he didn't like the random aspect where sometimes you throw a fear and they walk away, sometimes you throw a fear and they walk towards you. So if you guys aren't aware, fear actually works such that from yourself, the fear will always walk them like 2 steps away and like 1 step back. or something like that. It may be the opposite. It may be 1 step away and 2 steps back. But it is always a consistent kind of measured thing.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I was there. I mean, Gassy can confirm or deny what I'm saying. Maybe he'll be like, "This Pluto guy's crazy. That doesn't make any sense." But I'm almost positive that's how it works.
That's good.
So it's a consistent thing. Because, a stun is like, they're stunned. They're not going to move. You know what's happening for the next 1.5 seconds or whatever. Fear, you can also tell what's going to happen in the next 1.5 seconds. Because they're like the Freya Fear. When you use it, for example, they always go, boop, boop. And then it appears over, Yeah, it's not like boop, or it's not like boop. You always know where they're gonna land.
Those second boops were so sad.
That's what I was trying to convey.
Yeah,
I was trying to convey that it was.
I got the emotion of your boop.
Yes, perfect. So going to the meat of the program, of the community catch up, we're going to talk about the matchmaking stuff.
Yeah.
So we are a week out. Matchmaking has been in the beta for our improved matchmaking has been in the beta for exactly 1 weekend, and being kind of a child of you and Gasty's extremely hard work, and math and graphs and numbers and stuff. How do you think it has panned out thus far?
Yeah, so I think it's important to kind of come back and talk to people about,
Definitely.
We're like, hey guys, we're going to do all these things, then we could just disappear and never talk to them about it again.
How do those features work?
Yeah, so, I think that doing kind of a quick recap of what we got out of these changes, we have some numbers here that we can share, is useful. So, overall, I would say that we kind of nailed it on about half of the things that we put in. The other half of things, we didn't quite nail it, and I'll go over those, but we at least have some info now that we can make it better.
Let's start with the good news.
All right, let's start with the good news. So one of the things that we wanted to address was people queuing up as 5-mans and running across a bunch of solo queuers and just completely stomping them. Yeah, It was painful to watch. We did some measurements of what games resulted from the previous matchmaking setup and what games we got out of the new matchmaking setup. Previously, in all the games where there was a 5-man group involved, 5 versus 5s were 6% of those matches. So that means that the other 94% were
solo.
A lot of them were 5 versus solo queue, or
5 versus 2,
5 and 2 and ones, or 5 and 2 and 3, or it was all these different combinations. I do have the numbers on all of them, but it's very boring. The one that we found most important was 5 versus 5s, because we try to push everything towards that end of the scale. 6% of the time, we actually got the thing that we wanted. After these changes, it was 87% of the matches were 5 versus 5s.
That's fantastic.
Yep. So that one, we're like, great, everything got pushed to the right end of the scale. There is a trade-off there, though. I did see a lot of people talking about, hey, we queue up as 5s and we keep running into the same people. That is a result of this sort of change where because we have a certain number of people playing, if we're restricting you down to these kind of better matches, we're gonna kind of match you with the same people. This will get better as we get more and more people.
I also feel as though that's not the worst thing in the world.
It's really not. I would rather people be matched against a good match repeatedly than against, hey, here's a new person and they're terrible compared to you.
And 4 other new people solo queued that have no idea what they're doing, getting paired against a group of 5 veteran players.
Yeah. So
it's a better experience for all parties involved when it's 5v5. Even if let's say Group A and Group B keep kind of butting heads, and Group A is significantly weaker than Group B, at least there is the mindset of we're playing with friends. Hopefully we're having a good time, even though maybe we're losing 2 out of 3 of the games we play against Group B, rather than Group A is full of dominating 5 players and then 5 solo queues that are just new to the game, because if those 5 solo queue players have a really bad time in that one game, they could churn, they could leave the beta and say, wow, this just isn't for me.
Yep.
But if the groups go head to head, the chances of one group just being like all 5 of them saying, oh, this game is not fun, let's leave the beta, is significantly lower. So it's just a better environment for everyone involved, I think.
Yep. All right, so now we'll go into the kind of middle area. So the other kind of feature change that we put in. I'm going to put my feet on your computer here.
I always do that. It's quite all right. Don't worry.
So the other feature change that we added was we tried to separate out new players from veteran players. And the feedback that I got from that I thought was the most interesting was people had a different, or especially the veteran players, had a different image in their mind of what new player meant than we did. To us, a new player really meant someone who had played a very small number of games and really didn't understand what made Dawn Gate different from other MOBAs. Especially because right now in the beta, we're primarily trying to attract people that had played MOBAs before, or at least were kind of core gamers. So we have just kind of a expectation that people understand the mechanics and just need some number of games in order to become familiar with what makes Dawn Gate unique.
That's true.
So the feedback that we got was that a lot of players had a very different bar that was much higher for what makes you no longer a new player, and I think that's something that we need to take into account. So Gasti and I had a number of conversations about what we want to do here. One of the things that made this worse, though, in this particular instance was that we did a score compression. We kind of like took everyone's scores because they were all bloated from the previous numbers, and we kind of squished them all back down towards the middle. And what that meant is that some people that had previously been using just score far enough away that they weren't often matched against new players probably saw new players more often until they pushed their score back out again. So if they played a bunch over the weekend, towards Sunday they probably got better matches. But
but the bands are much closer now.
Yeah.
It used to be like if one guy or one group of 5 were just constantly stomping solo queue, they were just far and away the highest rated players in the game by hundreds of points sometimes. So it's definitely it's an improved quality of life. And like you said, since we're targeting players that theoretically have a MOBA background or have played MOBAs before or are aware of the mechanics at the very least, because when you do sign up for our beta process, there is a box that says, have you ever played a MOBA before? What's your experience? Which MOBAs have you played and stuff? We are looking for players that, have played MOBAs before. So with that being said, just because someone only has a handful of cups, let's say the cups is, the term for wins pretty much. Some guy maybe has 10 cups. Another guy has 50 cups. I don't think that particularly means that the 10 cup guy is just a trash can compared to the 50 cup guy.
I would say even that there's a lot of times where it's either via Smurfs or people coming in with a lot of League or Dota or something else experience. People with a small number of cups are actually really highly skilled.
Yeah, they could be.
So,
there are people out there that I only myself have like 105 cups or something like that. There are people out there that have far more cups than me that I can still beat. I don't think that they are kind of objectively better than me. Just because I don't have that many cups doesn't mean I'm bad or a trash can.
So we're conscious of that, though. Right now, we know that there's kind of like, hey, the only thing we're exposing to you as a player about how good you are is these cups. So really, our fix for that is getting in some sort of rank, some sort of leaderboard, a way to compare your skill against other players that's actually using skill and not just cups. So I think that's where we're going to go with this new user thing, is we're going to take the learnings from what we got in this last beta, and we're going to start to roll that into our ranked system so that we have that sort of separation from new players and veteran players, but there are also going to be kind of layers wrapped around that from the rank system in order to make it a little more visible to players and give them a better understanding of kind of where you are in the progression of new player to veteran player, and also on lowly skilled player to highly skilled player.
Okay. And then let's see what else. There's also a big problem with the game before was the queue time, and that part of that was because of the bands being stretched so thin. You had a super high MR person that was just on an island by himself with a few other people that just weren't being matched together because there weren't enough of them. You're like the last of the Mohicans. It's crazy. But how was the change? I know it had something to do with compressing that band and stuff to lower queue times, and was it correct? Was it effective? Did we do what we needed to do?
So I would say the primary problem with the old scores was that we had what I've been calling score inflation, where just over time score effectively means less because when you won, you were guaranteed to win a certain number of points, but when you lost, you weren't guaranteed to lose a certain number of points, and you were also unbound on the upper end of what you could earn. So it basically meant that through the right combination of matches, or doing things like pub stomping, you could actually just kind of infinitely grow your score off into the distance, and then you end up in this terrible place where you can't find matches, and your queue times are just ridiculous, and you're not really reflecting your score any longer. You're reflecting the matches that you got matched against. So we tried to fix that, and one of the things we did to kind of bring back in those players that were out in Sadness Island was to kind of compress all the scores. I do think that we compressed a little bit too much.
Okay.
So for the first few games, people were unhappy with the matches they were getting, and I think that's totally reasonable. One of the things we have learned from this is we're going to be a little bit softer with the compression next time, and that'll probably play into whatever kind of like ranked system we come up with as well. Those two will need to play nice together. So yeah, I think that once players play a couple games and they get kind of like pushed back out to where they would naturally fall in the new scoring with plus and minus for wins, they're going to be happier. Yeah,
is there post kind of compression? Was there a few matches, like the first few matches, where did they grant you larger boosts or busts to your rating? Was that how it worked?
So what it probably would have done is, because you're finding other matches that are closer skilled to you now, as opposed to being these huge
disparity,
rifts, you would gain more. However, previously we were kind of giving you free points that shouldn't have been there, so you might have actually gained less because the old system was doing some silly things. Okay,
interesting. So looking towards the future, like we said, 1 week under our belt with kind of the improved matchmaking, and many more weeks to come. What is yourself and Gasty's plans for iterating more upon it?
So one of the things that we were just not happy with was the average spread of skill level between games. We made a number of changes, and we tried to predict what the kind of skill spread would be and tuned the queue times to match that. But we found that match times didn't really go up at all. By match times, I mean the amount of time in the matchmaking queue. But the skill difference in a particular match did go up a little bit. So in order to counteract that, in this next event, we've already put in some changes to kind of flip that around a little bit. So we're going to try to increase queue times to decrease the skill difference a little bit.
So you may be sitting in queue for a few more minutes, but theoretically you should have a more
I wouldn't even say a few more minutes. Right now our average queue time was under a minute.
Oh wow!
So that is under the target that we're going for.
Wow.
With our current population, it makes sense to wait in the queue a little bit longer to find a better match.
Yeah.
So we're going to kind of push that in the other direction to try to find you guys better matches, and hopefully that will make the matches for this upcoming event, especially now that people have balanced out a little bit with their scores, they should be better matches.
Yeah, and I feel like that is the general consensus. I would hope from a mobile player's perspective of, I don't mind waiting in queue for a little bit longer if it gives me a better match.
Yep.
Because we've said many times, MOBA is competitive. Like, that is just how it is. It is 5 people versus 5 people competing. It's not like a super casual thing.
Yeah.
So the mindset there, I have had some extremely memorable 5v5 matches. We've had some memorable, awesome, internal playtests. I've had some incredible matches on live, in the closed beta, and those matches make me appreciate the game that much more, because it's like, man, this feels really good. I feel like I'm actually carrying. I feel good. My palms are sweating a little bit. like the match is close. I've been on the 4v5, like on the 4 side of it, and come back, without the person coming back. Like, I've won 4v5s. I have won those games where our Guardian has gotten down to 25% HP, and we've been able to kind of turtle up a little bit, get our team play together and push back and win. Like, those matches are fantastic. So I can only assume, but bad things usually happen when you assume, that players would rather that tense 5v5 match than, I'm going to queue with 5, get match against 5 solo queue, and just stomp. You know,
Yep.
like there are matches out there. You know, I've seen screenshots of like Mionhe's group and stuff winning a game in like 7 minutes. You know, and it's like, is that a really good 7 minutes? Or like, you know, that's just kind of it's a little sad. I feel bad for the enemy team on the receiving end because it's like we just got stomped in 7 minutes. You know, like I know the good feeling of victory in 7 minutes, but the bad the bad feeling of defeat in 7 minutes is like in that much worse. Like it's just like, wow, this sucks.
Especially the futile defeat. Like if you're actually an evenly balanced team and the other team just derps it hard, then you know you derped it hard, so you get a 7-minute loss. But if you just don't have the skill in order to compete and you don't really understand what's going on, there's no reason to have that match ever take place.
Yeah, it just doesn't. If matchmaking can you know assuage you of that pain and let you never feel that pain, I'm sure we will do everything in our power to make matchmaking do that. We do have some time. I don't know if anyone out there has any questions about the matchmaking or questions for Ryan specifically. I don't know if there's anything else you would like to particularly say about matchmaking.
No, so, you know, it was a good first step. We have lots of other things planned, and we're going to continue to kind of tune it over time. So, you know, thank you to everyone out there that, you know, sent in feedback, you know, either good or bad. I heard, you know, a lot from both sides, so that was all very useful, and we do react to that. So, you know, there are already changes going in for this week. And in the future, going to be additional things going in, so we'll talk about those as we actually get them ready to go.
I personally, and by the way, guys, if you want to ask a question, put a Q in chat followed by a colon and then your question, and I will read it out. Someone's already asking Rex Thunderlord, do you use the ELO system to calculate MMR?
So we talked about that a little bit last time. Right now we're using a Glico system, which is an extension of ELO, but we are working on basically rebuilding that to be more appropriate for our game. One of the things that ELO and Glico and a bunch of these other systems kind of fail at is doing multiple players against multiple players. And
because I mean, ELO in a nutshell was a chess system, correct? It was mano a mano, one person against one person. It's hard to make that, you know, 5v5, of course.
Yeah. So we needed to do a better job of that. We also needed to be more predictable to meet our requirements for ranked play, and we also there's no tie in the game right now, and those systems kind of the crux of it.
There are
draws.
Ties.
Yeah, draws. So we don't need that complexity, and we can get better results by kind of excluding that from the formula.
Oh, there you go. Dawngate Glico in a nutshell. Let's see. Just arrived. What have I missed? Explain everything in massive detail. KI Dice, matchmaking was good. That's it.
Yeah,
that's a good,
great recap there.
Improved matchmaking was a success. We'll say that, but there are still more iterations and changes to be made to it to further improve it, to further, you know, kind of steal it and make sure it is working perfectly. This is a little off topic, but I was wondering if the game will ever have smoother screen panning similar to other MOBAs. Shadam is asking.
I don't know. Does he want like some sort of
like the
momentum to the camera?
I don't know. Possibly.
I've played MOBAs with momentum to the camera, where you remove your mouse from the edge of the screen and it kind of like drifts to a stop. And I feel like it's really hard to get accurate clicks when your camera's moving when you're not actively trying to move the camera.
You know, it's a personal thing. Whether or not that is coming in, I don't know. It's a great suggestion. You could potentially post that somewhere on the forums or on the Reddit wherever, because you know, like we've said many times, our dev team, our design team, our art team, you know, our engineering team, our QA team, our community team, we all read those things. We all read Reddit. We all read the forums. If you have, and the best way you can spot us, of course, is we have an orange name, and we usually have Waystone in our name somewhere. So say hey to us. We're people, you know, and we really enjoy interacting with you guys. So
Bo's pointing out that maybe he's getting frame rate hitches, which is something that we will be working on. We'll optimize all sorts of things.
Good job to Bo for taking a stab at it. Maybe it's just a problem with their computer, and they feel like the game is bad or has bad scrolling when I've found it to be nothing but smooth. You know, I think it's a great experience. So let's see. Blue Muzzy is asking, does MMR decay? If so, how fast?
So MMR does not currently decay, but that will change as part of ranked play.
I'm sure.
I don't know if decay is maybe the right word. We will have a feature that will push back on players playing ranked, getting up to a spot, and then never playing again because they just want to camp out at some point in the leaderboard.
It does decay.
Okay.
Justin, chiming in.
I will take that back. Apparently, they are ahead of where I thought they were on that. So Justin's pointed out that we do have a decay now. Again, though, it's not just like some amount of time reducing. There's some algorithm back there that I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about that will basically push back players from camping out on the leaderboards.
Yeah, of course. Let's see. Why hasn't Cyril SC been streaming on the weekends anymore? Secret Tony? I don't know. He's been busy. He is actually. I haven't heard from him. Maybe he just had surgery, which is important too. He did just move as well. I remember. Yeah, he did just move to a new apartment with our live producer, Ryan Laughlin. So I don't know if they 100% have.
He's been working a lot too.
He just moved in with a person on the team. What's wrong with that? I don't know. I didn't know that was a problem. People know that I live with our concept artist Kendra. There you go.
Now they do.
They've already known that. I didn't know that was a big deal. But yeah, he did just move, so he's having. I don't know if his internet's hooked up. I don't know what's going on. But let's see. Any other questions? Do you guys have a way to help raise MR if a player is performing well, but his or her team consists of newer players who may not be helping carry for wins? Interesting. Is there anything about when it does match a low skill solo queue with a high skill solo queue? Do they always gain or lose the same rating? I guess is the question.
Does the high skill player gain and lose the same amount of rating as the low skill player? Yeah. No, they do not.
Okay.
So that is one of those things that we're going to make even better with this kind of like improved Glicko, or Glicko isn't even the right word anymore, improved formula that we're going to be implementing sometime soon. But for now, it does take each player into account and tries to give you at least a reasonable amount of gain or loss depending upon your current situation.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What determines increase in MR? Is it only winning or losing from the Bumazi?
So it is whether you win or lose, based upon your skill relative to the skill of the other player. Sorry, I should say of the team.
Okay, yeah.
It also will adjust that based upon how confident the system is in your score and how confident the system is in the enemy team. And then in the future, we would like it to also take into account your teammate's skill and how confident it is in your teammate's skills. So, how much you got carried versus how much you carried your team would affect your score more. So that, if you're the lowest skilled player in a team and you just get carried, it won't imply that you are actually this like godlike player, and it'll have a better estimation of your skill after that game.
Bam Bam Shablam, great name, is asking, will they ever be able to see their MMR in the future?
I will say we are planning on doing that. There's a lot of discussions going on about that. We would all like to show it to you. We have to make sure that the MMR rating does all of the things that we want it to do and kind of promotes the right sort of behavior. Really, it's about ranked play when it comes down to that, because if you're not comparing yourself to other players' skill, then there's really no reason to show MMR. So it will come out as part of that feature if we do it. Okay.
Celestiatum is saying, will you be giving us more stat tracking, such as win-loss on a specific shaper over the course of our account career, or VIM per minute, etc.? I feel like that kind of ties a little bit into the API, perhaps, that we've released to certain sites.
Yeah, so I think right now we do give you win-loss per shaper in the profile. Maybe not all shapers. So
I think it's like your most played. Your
most played,
5 most played.
But I do know there are some really cool things in the works with the API. It's currently in closed testing, and so there are a number of sites that are kind of building their particular application implementations of this data. And I know there are some cool things in the works. I don't want to talk about other people's sites until they're ready to talk about it.
Of course.
But there will be some things that we
They have the ability to do that.
They have the ability to do that and more. So,
wow. And Ryan Seiff being one of the one of the probably the forerunner for the API system and stuff. I feel like you have been a lot of people's contact, about the system, and you've worked very closely with the system. So if you say that it can do that and more, I feel like people should be excited about the future and what's to come as far as community sites and data-driven stuff is concerned.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that going live and having players be able to kind of
soon
see these things.
Soon TM. Let's see. Will the FPS problems be fixed in the upcoming patch? If you're talking about just kind of frame rate issues in general, that's something that just takes time, and it is, changed and worked on over time, from patch to patch. So you may play one weekend and be like, I only get 20 FPS. This stinks. And then the very next weekend you may get 60 FPS and be fine. So it's just a matter of time. Keep checking back with us. We appreciate your patience with it. Optimization is pretty much purely takes time. It's a lot of people come in and they say, when I play League of Legends, I get 70 FPS and I'm fine. It's like, yeah, but League's been out for 4 or 5 years now. It has had the time to optimize. We have only been in closed beta for 7 months now.
So my glass is half full interpretation of that is when people are playing the game, we actually know whether they had a good frames per second experience or not, and we can kind of like correlate that to what sort of machines are running well and people.
So we're watching you.
We're watching you. So by doing that, we're able to kind of like find, this setup is not working well with our game, and we can figure out like what the bottlenecks are that our game is really struggling with, and then we can focus our optimizations there. So we only have a certain number of machines through here and at NATC, the QA group. So the beta helps us a lot with kind of focusing our optimizations towards helping the most number of people figure out the worst problems. So we are constantly working on it, but it's this kind of cycle of, all right, what's our next target? Collect the data from the last beta, focus a little bit of effort towards getting that in, get that change in, cycle around, do it again.
Makes sense. Someone else is saying, will there be fun game modes like all same shape or 1v1 and such? We're not opposed to other ideas, other game modes, other map types, anything like that, but our concentrated effort right now is the Dawn Gate, is the 5v5 2-lane map. That is it. In the future, when we have the ability to spread more resources in other places, who knows? Maybe 1v1, maybe like an ARAM, maybe an all same shaper kind of stuff. We're not like, no, it will never happen. It's something that could happen in the future. We're not shooting any ideas down whatsoever. Few more questions, guys, and then we will wrap it up for today in this community catch-up.
So I see that Blue Muzzy is asking about placing new players into skill levels. So he had brought up in, what was that? One of the other community streams, using bots to try to do initial placement so that players don't have to kind of like get dropped into the matchmaking pool.
Trial by fire.
Yeah. And I'm like, hey, that sounds like a great idea. I do think it's a really cool idea. The thing that really gates us there is having good predictable bots that are not exploitable and provide a good challenge across all skill levels.
You can't just come in, do your bot placement, and then like destroy them.
Right.
And be like, oh, well, or exploit something about them that puts you in a higher bracket than you should be.
Yeah.
Right?
And so this is not speaking badly about League in any measure because their bots do what they're supposed to do. But if we try to use the League bots to do skill placement matches, there's a lot of things that they don't do very well, and you can kind of like take advantage of them. Yeah. And so it would be too easy to kind of place yourself above where you should be.
That's true.
Actually play like players. So it puts a really big impetus on our bot development to kind of be able to be, really good for beginner players, for experienced players, not exploitable, all these things. So I think that would be a step beyond just even the initial bot creation.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because, my girlfriend is a relatively new player to League. She's just hit level 30, and she likes playing against bots, and she can do okay against bots, but if she ever comes into, like, a real Summoner's Rift with me, she's like, bots never did this. Like,
right.
Bots never flashed this aggressively and made these crazy YOLO plays. It's a completely different experience. So I understand where you're coming from with, taking the time to tailor bots to all ranges of skill levels so that you can appropriately matchmake, or you can appropriately kind of slot someone into a matchmaking tier after a bot match. Rather than just them keep running into bindings and being like, what am I doing? What am I doing? One more question, and then we will wrap up for the day. Secret Tony, I realize part of the new matchmaking, number of wins is accounted into it. Have you considered keeping a range of wins, such as 1 to 50, together with another 1 to 50 win player?
So it is not number of wins; it's number of games played. So this is the new player versus veteran player separation. And so there is a bracket where we try to separate out players that have at least played some games. The reason why we went with games played versus wins is kind of back to what we were talking about before. it's really about, do we think that this player has an understanding of what the mechanics of Dawn Gate are? You know, after this number of games, are they going to know what a Spirit Well is? Do they know what the Parasite does? Do they know what their particular shaper that they're playing does? So we wanted to keep the players that are, you know, just kind of like dipping their toes in the water and really don't understand what makes Dawn Gate unique, allow them to be placed against other players that are more on that end of the scale.
In the same boat, yeah.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Yep.
But yeah, that's it for the community catch-up, guys. It's been a wonderful hour. Thanks for spending it with us here. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/thedawngate, facebook.com/thedawngate, youtube.com/WaystoneGames. If you missed any VODs of our playtests or our community catch-ups, you can check them out there. And you know, the number one thing to do is register for the beta at dawngate.com or waystonegames.com, whichever one you feel like typing in. Really, it'll redirect you all to the same place. So, you know, from us here at Waystone Games, thank you so much for watching. Hit the follow button on the Twitch channel as well. It'll give you an email update every time we go live, which is like 6 days out of the week. So, until next time, guys, take care. I'm Brad Pluto Raymond, Assistant Community Manager. This is Ryan RSFlux Seiff, one of our fantastic engineers and, you know, proprietors
you
of
just got axed
the matchmaking.
in the face.
So thanks again for watching. Appreciate it, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Thanks.
Bye.